Kiora, good evening. I'm Mary Joseph. I'm a licensed immigration advisor with AJV Global. I'm coming live here with a very interesting topic, a very compelling one, and a very popular one. Yeah, because New Zealand has always been a very desired country for a lot of people, including myself and my family, because we moved here to New Zealand from India. So finding jobs, finding work in New Zealand is probably one of the most commonly asked questions: how to get into New Zealand and find a job, what are the pathways available for that, and what are the details around finding employment in New Zealand. So today I'm here to talk about that. I'm just going to quickly go around a few things. Number one is I'm going live in 3 different places. One is our Instagram, Instagram channel, my Instagram channel. The second one is Facebook, and the third one is YouTube. So I'm live in 3 different places. If I'm not focusing on a particular camera, it's because I'm trying to focus and ensure all of them are in line. But thank you so much for all those who are joining in. We will start in a bit, but some housekeeping before we get started. Number one, please feel free to ask questions, right? Those especially chiming in from Instagram. It's going to be a little hard for me to actually, what do you say, read your questions on there. It'll be great if you could please come onto Facebook, or if you could come and join us on our YouTube, because it's easier for me and because I'm on my computer and looking at my questions from there. But otherwise, that's fine if you are not on those channels with us. So we have a Facebook page, AJV Global. I'm going live from there, and we've got a YouTube channel. I'm also live from there, right? So besides that, please state your name and your query in a full one comment instead of multiple, because it is quite a challenge for me to go between different comments and try to connect. Plus it'll be good to have your name, also your contact information, right? That way, if suppose your query is very specific to your circumstances, my team and I can contact you after this session and help you resolve your query, right? So I would greatly appreciate if you could please share your information, in your contact information, that is your phone number and email address, along with your name when you're sending in your query, right? So that's about with housekeeping. This is going to be about an hour session. The first 20 to 30 minutes, I will run through the whole thing about how to find work visa in New Zealand. What are the categories of work visa? First of all, I'm a licensed immigration advisor. I'm based out of Auckland. I have the license to practice and provide immigration advice, and I've got 4 other colleagues in New Zealand who have this license. Please be aware, you cannot seek, or people who are not licensed are not allowed to give immigration advice, except in the area of student visa for people offshore, right? If you're based in New Zealand, then you have to have a license to give any kind of immigration advice. So what's more important here is not to fall for scams. The reason that we wanted to do this session is to let you know what's happening in the market. There are a lot of scams. There are a lot of Chinese people who have come into the country. There are a lot of Nepalese who have come in, who have been cheated by advisors, licensed or not, that they've taken money and they've promised them jobs. And when they arrived here, they are either not having those jobs because those jobs were created and manufactured just for the purpose of the visa, or they are getting dismissed after about a month of coming into the country, right? This is a serious problem. So do not get scammed. And the money that these people are charging is very high. These so-called agents who are promising jobs, the money that they're charging is very high, which is not right. When it comes to immigration advice and being able to assist you with jobs, um, please understand, no recruiter or any party in the process is allowed to charge you money. Please remember this. An applicant cannot be charged for the process of recruitment, right? Me and my company do assist people. We have just started a wing of the job search services for very limited occupations. We are reaching out to employers. However, we will charge only for this visa process. We will not charge you for actually assisting you in finding a job. Yes, there are other services that are attached, like the prerequisite meet requirement, or there is any other test that's required. Yes, there could be charges around that, but to be able to connect you to an employer or actually find you a job, uh, it's illegal to charge for that, right? So I've seen there is information in the market that there are advisors on and licensed agents that are going up to 15, 20, $30,000. They are charging, promising jobs to people. People are flying into the country. Surprisingly, Immigration New Zealand has given out those visas as well. These are all accredited employers. People have come into New Zealand and have no clue about the job, or within a month or two are getting dismissed from the role. So honestly, I don't know where the problem is. I don't know if the employer is dodgy itself, or I don't know if who is missing out on due diligence. I'll be honest with you. It's hard to pinpoint where the problem is, but obviously the agents, the so-called agents on the other side, are taking advantage of it. So please understand how important it is to work with a licensed advisor, somebody who likes to stay within the lines. And we as a company, we don't mind losing financial opportunity, rather than give false promises and cheat people. We are very highly ethical in that area. People who have worked with us for so many years, our clients, know clearly how we do not encourage any kind of manufacturing of information, manufacturing of documents, or falsifying information with immigration. We have cut ties, cancelled agreements, terminated agreements with people who said they wanted to falsify information. We don't care what stage of the process, even after lodging an application, if we have come to know that someone has falsified information or has concealed information that they've given to us, we have cancelled our contracts with them. Yeah, so have done all these days, and we will continue to do that, right? So what I would like to talk about today is how to be able to get those jobs in New Zealand. What is the process? So number one, please know there's only one category of work visa, which is called accredited employer work visa. Now, this was designed last year to basically put proper scrutiny and proper due diligence into the whole process of employing. A lot of employers were misusing it. There was migrant exploitation. There was a lot of scam happening around this, because of which, mainly migrant exploitation. Hence, Immigration New Zealand and the government came up and said, listen, everybody who is going to be employed by an employer in New Zealand, a migrant to be employed in New Zealand, has to be accredited. This is not just for the work visa. By end of this year, technically, every single person in New Zealand on a visa will need to work only with an accredited employer. I'm not sure if they're going to completely kind of deploy the rule, but at the moment, if they have to sponsor your work visa, they have to be accredited, right? Now, what is this accreditation process? This accreditation process involves where an employer has to basically seek approval from immigration that they're good to go in terms of their compliance and their that they're compliant with employment law and employment and labor laws, with workforce, health and safety, and immigration law. That, and they are not financially bankrupt, or they're someone who will shut down within a month or so. Yeah, so they have to basically be checked by Immigration New Zealand, and Immigration New Zealand will give a tick off as called as an accreditation, basically an accreditation number. So once the accreditation number is given, then an employer will have to look at something called a labor market test. Now, what is labor market test? Labor market test is to prove to immigration that the employer has made an effort to hire a New Zealander, hire a New Zealander um, before trying to hire a migrant. Okay, so the government says, okay, listen, we want to keep our unemployment rates low, right? Our unemployment rates low. And because of that, we want you to offer these jobs to New Zealanders or train New Zealanders, right? Now, a lot of people think that, oh, the government is only pushing for the locals to be hired. And yes, every country wants their citizens, their country people to be employed, because it impacts GDP, it impacts the economy, it impacts the unemployment rate, it impacts a lot of things, it impacts the health of the country, right? Because of which every country will strive that their people are, plus understand, more people in jobs, the lesser taxpayers money goes into benefits, right? So it's all connected. Okay, it's all connected. So that is why it's encouraged that every employer tries to find a New Zealander first, right? However, the government also recognizes that there are some roles that have been vacant and the attrition is very, very high. Unfortunately, employers are just not able to hire locals in those jobs, New Zealanders in those jobs, and that is something called a green list. So the government has already done their research and have come up with this list, which confirms that there are no New Zealanders for this job specifically. Go on the immigration website and look for something called green list occupations. If the role that an employer is trying to hire for is on the green list, then there is no need for the employer to advertise. Okay, there is no need for the employer to advertise. They can straight off go to the next step of the process. Okay, apart from that, there are also other areas that we know that there is a lot of shortage in. They are not on the green list, however there is a lot of shortage in. So there is something called the care force occupations, which there is a lot of demand, and there's going to be constantly increase in numbers over there. The second is the hospitality industry, the hospitality and tourism industry, where there was a lot of shortage because of the borders being closed, right? So at the moment, these are the other two industries that are going to be open to hiring people easily, because there's already a defined shortage in that area. Green list is by default. However, if an employer is hiring anybody apart from the green list, has to advertise first. Try to find a New Zealander, even if it is in the care force area or it is in the hospitality and tourism, which is currently in having a sector agreement. Besides that, there are other dairy and a couple of other things that are also, kind of having a lot of requirement at the moment, meat processing and stuff like that. There is one other situation where an employer is not required to advertise if the salary is twice the median wage or higher. Okay, currently the median wage is 29.66 per hour, right? And if an employer is offering a job to somebody at twice the median wage, that's 29.66 per hour into 2, that should be their per hour salary. So it's almost 58. Just go quickly calculate that. 29.66 into 2, so that has to be 59.32 per hour, so almost $60 per hour, and equivalent annual salary. Okay, so if they are offering that salary, then also advertising is not required, because this is a high value applicant for New Zealand, it's a high value applicant for the country. So hence there is no advertising required. There's no that's in by default a labor market test done. The minimum number of hours that the employment has to be offered for is 30 hours per week, and anything above that, right? Usually people are hired between 30 and 40 hours per week of employment. But minimum 30 is good enough. If an employer is offering you minimum 30 hours per week, as it's considered full-time employment. So once the employer has understood that whether he needs to advertise or he or she needs to advertise, or they don't have to advertise, then the next stage of the process comes. Please understand there are a lot of intricacies and details in the labor market step stage, because it's not just advertising. They have to make genuine efforts of trying to hire a New Zealander or train a New Zealander. So there are a lot of jobs that are entry level jobs which New Zealanders can be trained for. even a high school graduate can be trained for. um, just because you've advertised, that's not going to be good enough as labor market test. You have to show that you've also tried to train New Zealanders in that role. That's the complication around entry level jobs. Anything with mid and senior level, yes, it's hard sometimes to find people with experience, because if you're looking at a specific type of experience, then it's going to be challenging for an employer. So these details, there's nothing for you to worry as an applicant. This an employer needs to worry, right? So usually at this stage is when the advertising is done, is when you also apply as an applicant, right? Because when it's advertised, only then you apply, or usually through referral. I know a lot of people are getting jobs through referral. Like, you've got friends and family working in New Zealand and they have referred you into a job, and then you've applied to the employer, and because they have made efforts to find a New Zealander, they could not get it, they eventually offer you that job. Okay, so that's fine, that's absolutely fine, even if it's through a referral. After this labor market test is done, next comes a job check that the employer needs to do, right? So the employer needs to go to immigration and say, hey, listen, I have tried to advertise, I have tried to train New Zealanders, I've tried to do these things, but unfortunately I could not find New Zealanders, hence I would like to now hire a migrant. So then they have to do something called a job check. Yes, the employer can offer you a job in the interim. They can send you a contract. However, you're not yet ready to apply for the job. Okay, the job check needs to be completed. So this is the employer requesting to immigration saying, "Can you please confirm for me that I can hire a migrant?" So at this stage, the employer's check is done with the accreditation. Second is the job check is done, which is the job itself is checked to see whether it's compliant in terms of what kind of role, whether there are any other New Zealanders and things like that. The last stage is the applicant stage, right? So the applicant has to now make a formal application to Immigration New Zealand and say, the employer has done their two parts, now I'm applying as an applicant. Now the applicant's only responsibility in this stage is to prove that they are suitably qualified for the role based on what the employer has advertised. Okay, based on what the employer. So the employer said, I need a bachelor's degree with 3 years. Do you have that? Do you have that relevant experience? Or if the employer says no degree required but 10 years of experience, do you have that work experience that is required? So there's a lot of documentation you are supposed to give at that stage to prove that you are suitably qualified for that particular role based on what the employer has advertised, right? If the applicant is happy, if the immigration officer is happy, then they issue you a job offer, right? So that's the process of the visa application itself. But let's back up a little bit and understand how, as you sitting offshore, how can you look for a job? Right, that's the question that you must be wondering, saying, okay, I'm fine with the visa process itself, I need to know how to apply for a job. Okay, so if you go back a few posts, in fact I will have my team paste the link here on these videos of accredited employer list, right? So Immigration New Zealand has released the list of accredited employers. However, there's a bit of a trick over there, saying you need to know the NZBN number, whether an employer is accredited or not. What is this NZBN number? NZBN number is a New Zealand business registration number. Okay, so every company, their first step to become registered is to get that NZBN number. It's a government recognized number. Okay, the government recognizes them as an individual entity, as a company. So that is mandatory. Now, what my recommendation is, so you can't obviously find the NZBN number like that. First, try and find the employer. How will you find the employer? Find the employer on job sites. So right now there are about 2 or 3 different job sites I can think of. One is seek.co.nz. We will paste all these links. Second is trademe.co.nz. Usually TradeMe is not open for people from offshore, but sometimes I don't know, if you've got like a token number or something, you could possibly get the login. TradeMe is the second one. Third one is there is another called I think it's called jobspace.co.nz. They are another one. They're a new company fairly. And the other one I know is indeed.co.nz. So these are the couple of sites that are there that are also acceptable as the labor market test requirement. So as long as it's a national site where publicly it's been announced a requirement, or you could look at the individual employer websites. Okay, you could go into their websites and check if there is any employment. Usually if they've advertised, that means they have done all those efforts of accreditation and stuff like that. There won't be indication on the websites whether they do have accreditation, right? But if they have listed and said you need to have a work visa to work in New Zealand and stuff like that, that means they know what the accreditation system is. Okay, apply there. Um, but if you want to know whether that employer is accredited, go to something called nzbn.govt.nz. Okay, go to the NZBN website and put in the employer information, the name of the employer. When you put the name of the employer, then the NZBN number comes up. Take that NZBN number and then go to the immigration website and enter the NZBN number over there to know whether an employer is accredited, right? Yes, it's a bit of go around. However, um, that's why advisors like us come into the picture, because we know how to look for this and we know how to connect and see whether a company is good enough to hire, whether the work you are suitably qualified for the role or not. All these things, um, you know, we as advisors are aware how it's done. Okay, so talk to us and we will help you through this process. A lot of times for a lot of roles, please understand the first stage of actually applying for a job would be doing NZQA, because when the employer requires a bachelor's degree, means that you need to have a New Zealand equivalent bachelor's degree. Not all qualifications from overseas are directly equivalent. You need to get assessment, so you need to get something called an NZQA assessment done. So that will be your first stage even before you start looking for jobs. Because sometimes you quickly could get a job. You could be in this area that needs, somebody to be filled in as soon as. But then if you don't have NZQA, you cannot apply for a work visa, right? Because immigration would like to see that your qualifications is on par of the New Zealand. Uh, so my request is, please first apply for the NZQA. My team and I do assist with that process. Besides that, we also would tell you what kind of jobs to apply for. At this time and stage, I'll be honest, we are working on a job search network where we are able to make some assistance. We are able to give you assistance for a few of the roles, but at this stage, we don't have those listings. Okay, sorry guys, I just gotta quickly plug in my phone, because I just realized that the battery's out. Okay, we're good to go there for a second. Sorry, it's poor connection. Great. So, like I said, these things are very important when you're applying for jobs. So, at this time, people get very upset to us when they contact us and say, "Oh, we thought that you can help us with jobs." But even before you start looking for jobs, there's so many things that you got to tick off. Because another thing that I think a lot of people do mistakes is to apply for wrong kind of jobs. Your intention is to come here, number one, with your family, second, to earn money, right? Third, eventually get residence. I'm sure 90% of the people who are trying to come into the country for jobs, at least from the Indian subcontinent or the South Asia migrants, I know that you are coming in with the intent for long-term settlement. But if you pick up the wrong job, if you pick up the wrong job level, skill level, you're not going to get residence. Okay. If that's the case, you will have to talk to us and say, okay, great. What am I to do to get this in place? So what am I required to do? So can I apply for a job for this roles, or should I avoid these roles? So recently I did a consultation for someone who had an opportunity to actually get a job in New Zealand because they had connections. But I clearly had to tell the person not to look for jobs in certain areas because that person was just a diploma holder, right? A diploma holder, you can only apply for certain skill level jobs because certain skill level roles need you to have a bachelor's degree and higher. So if you are applying for technician, certain technician roles, you need a diploma level, right? But if you're applying for, say, an electrical engineer or certain engineering roles, you need to have a bachelor's, and a diploma will not work for that, right? There is another way to it. So there is an alternate option to it, but you need to know these things. So unless you seek immigration advice, you won't be able to understand what kind of roles. It's all futile. Your effort is futile. You don't even know where to begin with, right? So my advice is, if you are keen to get into the country, apply for New Zealand jobs. You need to do two to three steps beforehand. Now, one is understanding what kind of job. Second is NZQA. Third is your CV. You need to know what kind of CV. So we do have a lot of templates that we share with our clients. It's actually publicly available, but we also look at the CVs and tell you whether it's good enough, meeting the requirement or not. We are not experts in this, but we have gained that experience, the knowledge, seeing a lot of CVs that we have, because of we've been in the industry for so long. We are not CV writing specialists, but we do have a fair understanding of what kind of CVs will work, what will not work, right? First of all, anything more than 2 pages, nobody's going to read in New Zealand, right? So there are a little pointers that we give people who sign up, but please understand, all this takes time and effort. You will have two people on your case every time you sign up for us for these job search services. Is a person who is a licensed advisor, and second is a non-licensed advisor, so the support person. So both of them, their aim will be to ensure your application, your understanding is clear of what is expected of you, and plus you're on the right track. We cannot guarantee you jobs because we are not a placement agency, we are not a recruitment agency. However, we are putting a team together to be able to help you with that, to be able to assist you with that, because we do have connections in the industry. We know which areas right now are struggling and employers are struggling and things like that. So if you're watching this video, please do not come to us with an expectation. I know there are a few people who have also gone on the website, and when they saw job search services, they think that, okay, these guys are going to find me a job. Unfortunately, no, not at this stage. The recruitment team is fairly new, and we're getting started, and we're going to focus only on healthcare at the moment, and probably some of the engineering and IT roles. But anybody has a chance with experience in New Zealand, guys. If an employer, there could be specific areas that the employer has been struggling to find people. um, they are going to be hiring migrants. Doesn't matter, the complication is the same whether you're offshore or onshore. If you don't have an open work visa, then the employer has to go through the same hoops and loops to get you into the country. Even if you're here on a visitor visa, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think it's easier. Oh, I'll get a visitor visa, I'll come into the country and I'll find a job. Unfortunately, the visa policy is still the same, irrespective of where you are, whether you're in New Zealand or offshore, right? So if you're keen, please go ahead and try, because as I said, there's a lot of skill shortage in a lot of areas. There is attrition everywhere. Hospitality industry is crying. I know that a lot of cafes and restaurants are cut down their hours of operations purely because they don't have enough staff. Okay, they also cordon off a few seats in the cafe just because they simply can't serve so many people, right? So please do contact us. Our contact information will be left on this video after this session. My team will share that information, and if you are interested to seek consultation, like I said, what are the information I gave you just now. If you are interested to talk to us, discuss what will fit, what will not work, what will work, whether it's realistic to waste time in looking for a job, we'll tell you all these things. If you're keen, only then sign up consultation, not with an expectation that we will find you jobs. We are not here to do that right now. Yes, the day we are going to be actively hiring for jobs and working with employers, we will put that up and we'll tell you clearly whether we can do it or not. But at the moment, all we can do is give you advice about how to be able to approach these jobs and what kind of jobs to apply for. Right? It's very critical. please don't take it for granted that, yeah, I can just apply for any role that is visible online. If your goal is to eventually get residence, then I think you need to focus on that, right? So what I'll do is, we've got about 30 minutes into the session now. If you have any questions, I please request you to put them now. Okay. Our contact information will be posted below. Team, Jyoti, can you please ensure our contact information is posted on all the videos wherever I'm going live from? Please put in a comment there so that they can capture that information. But surprising, nobody has any questions, because I'm looking through. Nothing on Instagram, nothing on Facebook, okay, and nothing on YouTube. So I just have someone who asked my contact information. I will have my team paste that for you, Sonu. Thank you so much. But otherwise, the best way for you to send us a contact is email to info@ajvglobal.com. Our phone numbers are also available on our website. We have a global contact center where you can contact us and talk to us. Um, we have someone called pathway managers on our team whose only job is to understand what pathway suits you and your family for migration. We at the moment have partners to do migration categories for Australia and Canada. So at the moment, if you're not qualifying for New Zealand, we are able to assess your profile not by ourselves, but we send it through to our partners, our service partners, and they are also people who have good understanding in the migration law and everything. So they will basically assess to see whether you qualify for any of the pathways. Right now, I'm aware that Canada has a lot of leave opportunity for temporary migrant workers. I know Australia has certain skilled visa categories that they have opened up. So there's a lot of scope. So if you are someone with qualification, experience, and English, please send us a CV to info@ajvglobal.com. Our pathway managers will assess to see if they will fit you in, right? Um, Besides that, you could go ahead and book a consultation on our website. We're actually going to be launching a brand new website very, very soon, which is going to be a bit different to what our current website is. Plus, next month is a milestone month for us, because we, as a company, complete 10 years of operations um, next month. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. So please do keep an eye out for that. Also, feel free to join our mailing list, because we are doing every fortnightly emailers where we are able to share the latest news across the world. Right now, we are doing about 8 countries. So we do New Zealand, Australia, Canada, UK, US, Australia, um, Ireland, UAE, and Singapore and Malaysia studies, and migration for Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So have a chat with our team. There's a lot of opportunity. The world is, they say, another world's an oyster. So we'll be able to connect you with the right people and see where you fit. But if your heart is set to New Zealand, then I and my team are more than happy to assist you, right? I'm just going to see if there are any more questions, comments, and then we'll go ahead with closing the session, because it's Friday night already and I'm really, really um, keen for the weekend to go out and have some fun. Um, so I'm just going to look at any comments. Right. So Instagram. So we have a comment from our very dear client, Varun. Hi, Varun. Good to see you online. So Varun says, "Hey, Mary, always grateful for the frank and friendly advice." I'm so glad. Thank you so much for your comment or feedback. Yes, I think, as I said at the beginning, it's very important for us to be transparent. We really want to sleep at night. Plus, we are all aware, the whole team is aware that, we are dealing with lives and just not names. We're dealing with futures of not just the individual, but of the whole family. So for us, it's very important to take you personally, when you come to us. Plus, it's also important that we tailor make what you want as an outcome for your future, because no person is the same, no two people are the same, right? Your circumstances are different, your backgrounds and your future plans are different. So that's why we ensure that we spend time with every person to understand what your goals are, right? Thank you so much, Varun. Again, hope you're having a good time. I do watch your videos and stuff, so yeah, good going. And also, Varun's our what do you say, our star student with LCBNZ. He's studying culinary there, and he's also a face on a lot of posters, and there is a lot of testimony. He's there quite up there on a lot of media for LCBNZ. But good going, Varun. All the best. We also have Samir, one of our other clients, who says, "Thanks for this, Mary. We are traveling to New Zealand soon because of AJV." Thank you so much, Samir. I'm aware you're traveling. Hope to see you once you arrive here. We do have a lot of these sessions that we do. In fact, we have a game night that we are setting up for our new batch of students who have come in last year and this year. So we have sent out invites. We do these every other month in different cities. We had last, I think not in May, but in April we did a session in Christchurch for the February students who came in, and we are doing one in Auckland next week. We are actually having a game night. It's a little different, where we're going to meet casually, play games, eat some good food. It's pretty cold in New Zealand, so I'm hoping we'll have some nice warm food set up for everybody. So thank you, Samir, and hope we get to see you in one of those sessions very soon. Yeah. Anybody else who is come in recently to New Zealand and you have not received my invitation, AJV clients, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy. This is in Auckland. It's going to be on next Friday. So do let me know. I will send you guys a personalized invite. This is for all the new people who we've not met, who we've not been able to interact with. So you know my email address, right? So just holler at me and I'll send you the invite. Yeah. But thank you so much, guys, for your time. Appreciate all the lovely comments from my clients. Appreciate the waves and hellos. But if you've got family or friends interested actually to seek immigration advice for any country, like I said, Australia, New Zealand, Canada mainly, or study for any of the top English countries, plus additionally Singapore, Malaysia, and UAE, AJV Global is the company that you've got to refer them to, right? And AJV clients, you also have a bonus for referring your family and friends. You guys know that, right? So please, we would like you to refer people to us because you love us, and you also know how we are with others. We extend the same love we extend to you. So, my dear AJV clients, that's also a request. Please share, like, and all our well wishers and viewers, please share and like this video, so that we are able to reach more and more people, um, and we do more for the community at large. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Um, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I hope people in India get some respite for the summer. I know it's pretty hot there. But thank you so much and take care, guys. Bye bye.